We have some breaking news to get to coming out of Fulton County, Georgia, just within the last couple of minutes. Donald Trump making clear in a new filing that he will not try to move his case to federal court, like his former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, and the alternate electors who were also indicted by DA Fani Willis are currently trying to do. Trump's lawyer says, quote, the decision is based on his well-founded confidence that his honorable court intends to fully and completely protect his constitutional right to a fair trial and guarantee him due process of law throughout the prosecution of this case in the Superior Court of Fulton County, Georgia. Joining me at the table right now to help us break all of this news out of Fulton County, MSNBC legal analyst Lisa Rubin. Charlie and Peter are also still with us. So, Lisa, give me the big takeaway from this development. A, was it a surprise? B, what does it actually mean? You know,
I think it will be a surprise, even to many people, but it's not a surprise to me. If you've watched the removal proceedings thus far, and there have been 3 of them, they have been one disaster after another. Mark Meadows is now appealing that ruling to the 11th Circuit, and the briefing was completed earlier this week. But Donald Trump's lawyer has been in court for each of those arguments, and he understands that in order to get removal, it's nearly impossible to do without marshaling a bunch of evidence on your own behalf. The defendant bears the evidentiary burden, and the defendants who didn't take the stand on their own behalf didn't have a prayer. Mark Meadows even had a shred of luck to get his case removed because he took the stand on his own behalf. Donald Trump is facing enough criminal exposure here that taking the stand here would not be well advised.
What do you make of the quote that I read, that part of the reason he believes that he's going to keep it in Fulton County as opposed to a federal judge is because he thinks he's going to actually get a fair trial in Fulton County, implying that perhaps he initially didn't think that was the case?
I'm not sure that that was the case, but I think this is part of it for him. One of the trade-offs was speed for Donald Trump. He didn't know how quickly Fulton County was going to move, and there was a thought that the federal courts would move more slowly and would be a more hospitable place for a federal immunity defense that Donald Trump and Mark Meadows are thinking about trotting out. But now that they see that Fulton County is not going to move with all deliberate speed, we're going to see a trial against Ken Chesebro and Sidney Powell on October 23rd. That trial, putting aside jury selection, is already expected to last 4 months. After that, Donald Trump has his own trials that are projected to begin on March 2nd and at the end of May. I think Donald Trump is betting that given the pace of the Fulton County trials, coupled with the trial dates he already has, it will be nearly impossible for Fulton County to have a trial against him before the election.
And of course, one of the things that jumps out immediately, the fact that this will take place in Fulton County means that this trial will be televised. Talk to me about that. What do you think?
I think Donald Trump wants it to be televised. All of his actions thus far are telegraphing that he is relishing the escalation of rhetoric, the increased attention on him, and that when he paints himself as a victim here, his popularity only rises. Nobody who is prosecuting Donald Trump is doing so to politically disadvantage him. If anything, the evidence has shown thus far that every time there is a new prosecution against Donald Trump and a new proceeding, he gets more popular and raises more money. I think Donald Trump is counting on a trial against him in Fulton County, if it occurs, to be televised because it will only lionize him further among his base.
Charlie, Peter, your thoughts on this? Charlie, I'll start with you. The breaking news that Donald Trump will not seek to move his trial to a federal court and would rather keep it in Fulton County.
Well, my reaction was the same as yours, which is, well, we're going to have a televised trial, and that's going to be very, very interesting. Donald Trump should be careful what he wishes for. I agree with Lisa that he probably relishes it. But this is not going to be a great moment in the middle of the campaign if in fact, it does take place. My second reaction was that the language in that motion certainly sounded very not like Donald Trump. Here is somebody who has been attacking the courts, has been attacking the judges, and suddenly you have this motion that says that he has complete confidence in the court. So that's kind of a moment. Wonder who wrote that for him. I'm pretty sure that that did not come from the pen of Donald J. Trump.
Peter, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think everybody would agree this may be among the last nice things that any Donald Trump court filing has to say about the judge in this matter. But look, I think I agree with Lisa. I think a primary goal of this is to push it out as far as he can. You know, Fulton County and Fani Willis in particular does have a lot of experience bringing RICO cases. But if you look at those RICO cases in Fulton County, they take an extraordinarily long time. And I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility at all, certainly with the Speedy Trial Act cases of Sidney Powell and others coming up first, that by the time it gets to Donald Trump, it would not surprise me at all if this occurs well past the election. So I think for Trump, and, you know, you see that like he looks forward to the due process, which might be a key for we intend to challenge and file motions at every single possible moment to slow this down. So I think, you know, I agree with Lisa that he had a tough road to hoe to begin with anyway, but I think ultimately the goal is to try and get anything in Fulton County well after the election next year.